Better Daily, where we work hard in our minds, bodies, and our spirits to become 1% better every single day. Download the app and join our Betterment family at betterdaily.live to catch the video version of these podcasts. Here's your host and my dad, Alex Van Houten.
What is up, Better Daily? This is Alex Van Houten in Better Daily Live with Pat Lee. What's up, Pat? How are you, brother?
I'm doing awesome, Alex.
He's joining us via the auspices of technology from the Smoky Mountains. Is that right? Maybe.
They may not be that awesome. Yeah, it looks like I'm getting a bad... You think this is how it works, right? Modern technology? I'm right under the cell tower, as a matter of fact.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you joining us anyway. Even if we break up here, I think it's going to be good because today's Winsday. This is the 11th day of the Faithful 40 Challenge, and a lot of people are, getting into the groove of making their commitment posts and seeing whether or not they're going to see this thing through. We've got a couple people joining us live. Good morning, Robin. Good to see you this morning. Thanks for joining us. I asked Pat if he wouldn't mind jumping on here and sharing some of his wins from his time here at Better Daily. You've been a founding member. You've been with me since the beginning of the Better Daily thing. So I'd love to hear from you before talking about this Faithful 40 Challenge. Where have you been and what's some wins been for you along the way?
Well, in a couple of weeks, we'll have been together for a couple of years. And I may have been on your second Faithful 40. So I've got 4 or 5 of these under my belt. And having you as a trainer, I mean, I've got kind of the benefit of that foresight as well. And there's been some great wins. I mean, obviously, getting control of your exercise habits and motivation and encouragement. I mean, it all goes hand in hand. And so, my first couple 3 were awesome because, I had weight to lose. I was starting to find some confidence in my appearance and those were great. And then, then you hit the wall and, your wins are redefined. And, where wins used to be, wow, look, I got my bicep is growing or something, when you start having injuries and you have, I'm at that stage in my life. I'll be 58 here in a couple of weeks. And, I might want to act like I'm 25 and all that, but things don't recover and they don't heal that way. And then you just have the degradation of as you say, we're just carbon life forms. So
that's right.
So wins now start to come more as a sustainability, maintenance of function. And maybe it isn't in growth in terms of throwing some extra plates on the bar. Maybe it's doing, a hell of a lot more reps or, doubling down on walking on that. Like today I've been up, I haven't been to bed yet since yesterday. And, but I've got, I've got a specific set of medical issues. And so I have to wear myself down. And I really, really do not feel like, going out and doing my work today, but it's got to get done. The dog's got to get walked. I've got to get stretched. If not, I'll be bound up all day. So wins maybe get redefined in our journey. But for me, I'm finding them more through the encouragement of Better Daily with the other people that are involved on here that genuinely have a concern about me and my path. And when I'm having my days where I'm maybe in the trough, people are there to lift me up. So those are wins. Those are the big wins for me. I mean, it's great to have the physical wins and all that, but I think the relationships and the encouragement, when you have the down times, when you have the injuries, those things, that is just so important because it keeps you from falling away. Because otherwise, how many of us have seen people fall away just due to an injury?
Right. Yeah. Well, and I appreciate that because one of the things I've really enjoyed about getting to know you and working with you over the past couple of years, you're just an extremely encouraging person in the worst way possible. And I don't mean that bad.
Because I'm always drinking out of a solo cup.
this guy.
What is it? Is it 8:30 yet?
There's just some people that I've met in my life where like I've come across them. I'm like, man, oh, I know your life's hard, but like, quit whining about it, man. And you and I love connecting with you because it's just like if you tell, and you don't have to be you don't whine. But if you told people all of the things that you deal with on a regular basis, and then we're like, but hey, let's go places. I'm still moving. You're not done moving. Let's finish this thing well, It's just an amazingly encouraging thing to know that you exist. So for me to you, thank you for that. I know you're too humble to take the credit and stuff. To God be the glory. And both of us point that up to the sky. But I've really enjoyed that about your energy and your space here in Better Daily. It's like, man, finish well. What? Yet how now shall we live? Do you mind if I share with everybody the dream I had about you?
Yeah, no, go.
Okay, so
Thank
guys,
you, by the way, for the compliment, Alex. I appreciate that. I feel the same way.
I really mean that. And Scott says, "Hey, Pat." So hi, Scott. Good to see you this morning, man. So I had this dream about Pat, and he's got the crazy hair he's got right here, it's just, and he's captaining this ship. It's this big galleon, this pirate ship looking thing, through the craziest storm. It's just just the waves are super high and falling and stuff. And in my dream, it's raining. It's got a really Moby Dick kind of vibe, and I'm like, dude, we're gonna drown. This ship isn't gonna be able to hold up to this. And he says, straight faced, "Oh, this is nothing. This storm's a little one." It's just going nuts. And I remember waking up from the dream going, yeah, that's Pat. This is the biggest, giant, most crazy storm you can imagine. And he's like, "Oh man, you should have seen last week's storm. This is nothing. We got this." So anyway, that to me, that's what my subconscious thinks about you, Pat. So keep up the good work.
Well, I'll remind you. You shared that story with me, and I'll remind you a detail that you left out. You and I were on the same boat, and you were the guy in the crow's nest, or kind of pointing the direction. And you said that we can't go through that storm. That the ship's not built for it. And you said, well, we've got to go through the storm. So we have to get to where we're going. And he said, but it'll destroy the ship. And I think what I said was that we'll build another one.
And that's right. Thank you for that. I forgot that detail.
Well, it stuck with me because, we're going to have the storms. There's no way around it. And when you say finish well, we're going to finish the way we're going to finish. And, I think we have to represent, right? And whether you've got a spiritual component or it's simply your family or even just yourself, if you're just by yourself, we've got to represent. We've got to stand up. And yeah, some days are hard. And they're hard for all of us. I mean, my monsters are no bigger than anybody else's monsters. When we had our oldest boy, and he was little, he was very, very sick for a long time. And we, had a couple, 3 times they had asked us to come in and say our goodbyes because he wasn't going to make it. And you experience that. And friends of ours would say to us, "Man, I don't know how you guys did it. You're so strong. I don't know how." And I just looked at them and I said, "Yeah, you do. Because when your kid's at the playground and they fly off the swing, you redline. You don't go he only flew off the swing. I'll stop at 4. Man, you're there. You're on top of it." So we all feel the pain the same way. But where I've just come down to, because I've thought it for a long time, it's not going to kill me. And I don't mean to sound trite when I say sometimes online it's only pain, but it is. I mean, you either process it and deal with it, or you let it destroy you. And I'm not ashamed to say that I spent 20 some years on narcotics under doctor's care, but they were massive doses of narcotics to the point that I was so toxified, they wanted to put a morphine pump on me and told me I had, about 3 months to live. And, now that's the hard stuff. I mean, when you have to face something like that, but I had a play in the game. And the one thing when you mention the thing about the storm is that I'm reminded of Peter in the boat, and when he goes out and walks on the waves, and it had to be kind of euphoric feeling, and like, look at me, the waves are up, skipping across the waves. But then he started to sink, and we all experience that same thing. We take our eyes off the Savior, we take our eyes off of the solution to our problems, things get worse. And so I'm not good at it. I fail all the time at this, and I'd like to be a better husband and a better father. But at the end of the day, I can look at myself in the mirror and say, I gave the best I got. And it may not have been as good as that guy's or that woman's there, but I gave the best Pat Lee that I've got for the day. And, maybe I didn't do every rep or every, if my body just wouldn't allow me to do it, at least I know if I went after it that day, at the end of the day, I know I got my work in. Maybe I hurt or maybe, but it got done. And there's the accomplishment. And that's why I always work out in the morning, because I want that high all day.
That's right.
I don't want that. Yeah, it's that other thing, right? The alternative is, oh, damn, it's getting late and I'm tired. I know I need to work out. And
I don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah, ice cream's good.
It's always good. Robin says, these two guys really helped me tremendously during my mama's death. A special place in my heart for y'all. We love you too, Robin. You rock, dude.
Right on, Robin.
So this Faithful 40 challenge is a little bit different, because this Faithful 40 challenge, you're coming off of 2 different surgeries. Well, 2 the same surgery, basically. But so this has been this isn't like hey, let's get gung-ho about increasing my weights and stuff, Faithful 40. This is, hey, let's rehab well and set a good foundation so that I can continue enjoying activity and putting my arms over my head for as long as possible. Can you tell us about the goals that you're working toward in this Faithful 40 challenge?
I always kind of default back to the same ones. I'm an Irishman, so we're a thirsty batch, and I wore that thing out pretty hard. And so when I stopped drinking about 7-8 years ago, and so sugar is really the sugar thing. I really doubled down on that, and I've in the last probably the last 90 days, I've had good success with that. So that's been real helpful to me, because the recovery process and your gut, just your health in your gut is better. But you say that it's not about putting more weight on, but it really is. My goals are the same. Now I'm on that bench with dumbbells. Hey, they're 25s, but they were 20s last week. Things are jacked up in here, but if there's workarounds, and we've been good about you've been good about putting things together for me, and by throwing some declines and such in on bench press, I can do more weight, and so I'm getting increases as well. I think the bigger thing is to recognize that at not your age, but some of our ages, that we don't recover as quickly as we used to. We don't have all the testosterone, all the other rebuilding things, like I know anything, in our body to help us get better. But I think that we have to be sensitive to, no matter how big our heart is, and we think that we're lions and all that, we're still just, I don't have a big frame, and I've tried to push it as hard as I could, but science or whatever, it is what it is. And, things don't happen if they're not designed for that. So
you're describing a process. In training, we call it progressive overload. That means the constant improvement. So that could be improvement in endurance, that could be improvement in strength, that could be an improvement in flexibility, maybe an improvement in body composition. But something that happens to people is they remember past successes and then get frustrated if their current progress doesn't look the same. And what you're describing is something kind of encouraging. It's saying, hey, look, like, let's say you could bench press 200 pounds at one point, but, fast forward, you had to have shoulder surgery, and, you can't bench press 200 pounds right now, but that doesn't mean that you're out of shape compared to your 200-pound bench pressing self. The win is to be constantly progressing from whatever point you are. Right. And just fun note to the people who maybe have had past successes and are comparing their older selves to the younger selves, for instance. The more that I've wrestled with Ehlers-Danlos in my life, the more I've come to the conclusion that if I can tax my muscles well, if I can tax my cardiovascular system well, if I can promote growth without the impactful strain that's injurious over time, then I'm making great use of the tools that I have in front of me. And it's very possible that you are growing just as much now, muscularly, mentally, focus, attention-wise, with 25-pound dumbbells as, 50-pound dumbbells several months ago, right? So I applaud that, and I hope somebody hears that. Like, wherever you're starting, the whole ethos of this Faithful 40 challenge, the whole goal of 1% better daily, is to take where you're starting and just incrementally add that bit better. And that's what's worth comparing to, as opposed to
Yeah.
any time
If
in
I
the
can,
past.
if I could just throw one thing on there in your list of
Yeah.
progress, I think that we also, and I found for me that there's progress in mindset, and I think that it's critical that we start there. And while I maybe didn't get the rest I needed last night, I definitely this morning I had my time with God, and I honor him, and I maybe I don't feel as great or whatever today, but you know what. I've been in the ditch before where I felt horrible, and so this is a heck of an upgrade. And I've got fuel in the tank to go out and do what I need to do. You can get down in, it's all in where you focus on, and you can get down in the dumps over your circumstances, but it doesn't elevate you. It doesn't get you through the circumstances. And it's when, and especially as men, I think that we're called to stand. I've got my little shirt on. I wear a lot, my iron sharpens iron shirt. And that's what it is in this group. And not to call just the men out, because the women are in the same game, but, like I've said before, sometimes you're the glass and sometimes you're the pitcher, and you need that other person when you're not strong. And so to have a community, you have to have a community in your locale, where you live, where there's somebody you can get on the phone and say, hey man, I am dying, I need to talk to you now. And you can get together. But to have a community like this, to take the things that are related to this journey, the exercise journey, and to have the spiritual overlay on it. This is just awesome, because it's not just, the betterment community isn't just about, wow, look at me, I lost weight, or I can run fast or something. Yeah. But none of that's any good if you're not developed up in here. And if you're not able to effectively process the day-to-day bullshit. And we can act like, life's all puppy and flowers, but it's not. There's a big monster out there every day, and we've got to start our day off, spiritually, but also, in our exercise, so that we're prepared for that. So when it does show up, we already walked through that scene. We know we got this.
Well, I was going to ask, actually, if you had anything you would say to somebody who is new to the Faithful 40 Challenge and Better Daily, or kind of sitting on the bench and thinking, maybe I should be a part of that. I almost think that was it, but do you have anything else you'd like to add to that message? Because I think that was good.
Well, and for all y'all, it is what you make it. And, I'm at a rally here, an RV rally, and I was at a big bonfire last night. And people were up socializing. I didn't know any of these people, but I said to myself, it is what I make it. If I don't get up, these people aren't going to come over and jump in my lap. And if I don't get involved, if I want to the benefit of this group, I've got to put in. And so I got up and I started introducing myself, and I made some great friendships. And, that's the same thing here. There's times where I don't want to post, or I'm busy, or this or that. And I mean, we all have our days where it's up against it. We don't get it done. But I think that not just being able to put your post up, but to interact with other people, because, the attaboys are huge, but sometimes the experience that you've had is the key to that lock that person is struggling with. And they may not be able to get it from anybody else in the community but you. So y'all speak up and be a blessing to other people. Engage yourself with these other people, because there's going to come a day when you're the glass. And you're going to need those pitchers out there to fill you up. So it's it goes back and forth, but that's why it's iron sharpens iron. One makes the other, sharper, and you never know which one's making the other sharper at that given time. So.
Right. Man, thank you for that. I think that's very encouraging to somebody who needs to get in the game. So I hope they'll take it to heart. And even if you are new to the Faithful 40 Challenge, new to Better Daily, you haven't posted or anything, dive in, message me or message Pat and say, hey, how do I start this thing? And I mean, we're not going to say anything magical. Be like, get started, man. I'll be your person. But we love to. That's right. We'd love to have you. Love to have you doing that. Pat, thank you so much for joining me for Winsday, and to the rest of you guys who have joined us, thank you guys for joining us on Winsday. Tomorrow is Word Thursday, and I'm really excited about the word we're bringing to you then. Pat, do you want to sign us off? Until then,
it's just 1%. You got this.
My man.
Thank you for joining us for 1% Better today. Don't forget to subscribe for the podcast. Leave us a raving review to tell others how Better Daily has helped you in your journey. If you want more Better Daily, download our app and join our Betterment family at betterdaily.live. Use code POD to get 25% off your subscription. That's POD, all caps, to save 25% on your subscription. We all have a cross to carry. It's later when we do it together. Go to betterdaily.live today.